You know what's so interesting about Bill Clinton is that despite him being someone that is, a bit more on the left in American politics, and typically on that's when you're like that, you tend to be a bit more on the Arab Palestinian side than the Israeli side. He is very clear about what's really stopped peace in the Middle East, and that it's been Arab rejectionism since Israel's re-establishment, and frankly, even before Israel's re-establishment. But what, and I find that so interesting because I think the reason is because no matter how much his political ideology may take him to a certain place, he was on the front lines of trying to make a peace deal between Arafat and then at the time Ehud Barak, Prime Minister of Israel. And he saw that they were offered the most incredible deal, Arafat was, and he stringed him along the whole way, and at the last minute turned him down, said no. And Clinton realized you can't. The truth is a funny thing. When it confronts you in the face, you can't ignore it. And Hillary, by the way, is exactly the same on this front. Whatever you think of her and her politics and everything, and I'm sure that our audience will be divided on this, when it comes to this issue, both of them have a lot of clarity about what's really the root cause of this conflict. Have a watch of Bill here.
Depends on whether you care what happens to the Palestinians as opposed to the Hamas government and the people with guided missiles. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. No, wait a minute. Yes, they were. And Hamas is really smart. When they decide to rocket Israel, they insinuate themselves in the hospitals, in the schools, in the highly populous areas, and they are smart. So they try. So they wait. So they try to put the Israelis in a position of either not defending themselves or killing innocents. They're good at it. They're smart. They've been doing this a long time. Look, I don't agree. I killed myself to give the Palestinians a state. I had a deal they turned down that would have given them all of Gaza. All of Gaza, between 96 and 97% of the West Bank, compensating land in Israel, you name it.
So he's absolutely clear and understanding of the truth of the situation. He's seen it firsthand. And when you see something firsthand, it's very hard to ignore. Ideology can sometimes cloud intellectual judgment and objectivity, and it's quite a scary thing that it can do that. But here he saw the truth with his own eyes, and there's no turning back once you understand that. But one of the fascinating things is someone in the audience, when he mentioned the human shields that Hamas use, which is so disgraceful. They don't care about the people. That proves to you the whole human shields thing, that the Palestinian cause is nothing about self-determination and statehood, because why would they be putting their own people on the front lines, sacrificing their own people in a war against Israel? Obviously, it's to create international pressure to destroy Israel. Shows you it's nothing about protecting their own people. It's about destroying Israel. That's what it's always been about. It's about ideological hatred, not a legitimate grievance. But what I find really interesting, is that the anti-Israel critics, sometimes, often disingenuously, but sometimes maybe sincerely, they say, I understand Israel uses human shields. Sorry, Hamas uses human shields. I understand that. But Israel has to find a way around it, or Israel can't go ahead and fight because you can't put civilians or innocents in harm's way. Well, it turns out that there was a case in British law called R.V. Paget in 1983, where there was a boyfriend and girlfriend, and the boyfriend, who was a criminal, held his girlfriend hostage, used her as a human shield in a shootout, or whatever they call it, between him and police. And the police, in trying to capture him, shot his girlfriend, who he used as like a guard, a shield. And in court, the British court system did not find the police officer guilty of manslaughter, but they held the boyfriend accountable. Tells you all you need to know. Why? Because he put her in harm's way, and they had a duty to neutralize him and to arrest him. And it was a unfortunate, inadvertent consequence. that they tried their best to avoid, but they couldn't. In a very tense, fast-moving situation. Yet somehow Israel's treated totally differently. That should tell you all you need to know about the hypocrisy and the lies and the disingenuousness of all the criticism. It's ridiculous, it's farcical, and it should be dismissed. Before we wrap up, I want to share something important with you. The entire anti-Israel movement is built on one central accusation, that in 1948 Israel stole the land, and ever since Palestinians have simply been resisting. But what if everything we've been told about this story is untrue? What if the real history of 1948 shows not Arabs being forced out, but Jews, while seeking peace, having to fight for their survival against a genocidal enemy that willed its destruction long before Israel's re-establishment? Have a watch of the trailer for our new, groundbreaking and essential documentary entitled What Really Happened in 1948. And if you want to see the full film, just click the link in the video description. In 1948, the world witnessed the rebirth of the Jewish state, the State of Israel. A moment celebrated as a miracle of survival and self-determination after centuries of persecution and the horrors of the Holocaust. Yet for decades, this event has been twisted into a narrative of theft and catastrophe, with the so-called Nakba portrayed as Israel's original sin, where Jews allegedly stole Arab land and displaced innocents in a premeditated act of ethnic cleansing. But what if this story is fundamentally inverted? What if the cause and effect are the other way around? Not Israel aggressively seizing territory and Arabs responding in self-defense, but Arabs, driven by deep-seated hatred, rejecting the Jews' legal and historical rights to live in their ancestral homeland and waging a genocidal war long before Israel's re-establishment. In this JTV Plus documentary, we're going to uncover the unvarnished truth about 1948, the centuries of pogroms and anti-Semitic violence that set the stage, the Arab leaders' explicit calls for extermination, and the defensive war Israel fought to secure its existence. We'll challenge the pervasive lies head-on, showing how Arab rejection of peace wasn't about creating a Palestinian state, but about denying Jews the right to live at all. From the Nazi-allied leader of the Arabs in Palestine, the Mufti al-Husseini, to the forgotten occupations by Jordan and Egypt, where no Palestinian state was even considered, this is the story of a conflict rooted not in displacement, but in whether the Jews deserve to live in their homeland. Join us as we debunk the myths with facts, confront the historical record fairly but firmly, and reveal why 1948 was not an act of aggression, but a righteous response to annihilation. This is what really happened in 1948. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.